Genesis chapter 2 describes the location of the Garden of Eden in relationship to 4 rivers. 3 of these rivers are known, and 1 is a mystery, the lost river of Eden, so to speak.
For generations, scholars and explorers have tirelessly searched for clues to the location of one of the 4 rivers described in the Bible as flowing out of the Garden of Eden. But despite countless journeys and tireless research, the river remained a mystery. The question therefore remained, where is the Pishon River, and why has it remained hidden for ages? Join us as we explore the Garden of Eden's Pishon River that has just been found. Number 1. Exploring the mysteries of Eden's rivers. Once upon a time, when the world was fresh and brand new, there existed a beautiful world filled with whispers of divine presence. This enchanting place, known as the Garden of Eden, was a haven of unequaled beauty and calmness. According to the Bible's book of Genesis, which serves as its opening chapter, this garden was perfect in every way. Within the boundaries of Eden, the Almighty made an array of trees, each more beautiful than the last, not only pleasing to the eye, but also providing nourishment. It was a world of limitless abundance and delight. But beyond its charming appeal, the garden served a crucial purpose. It was a wellspring of life-giving waters. Flowing from Eden were 4 majestic rivers, each with its tale to tell and its name to bear. These rivers were not just streams of water, they were channels of grace, nurturing the lands that lay beyond the garden's borders and paving the way for growing civilizations. They shaped the course of human history and marked the paths of early human exploration and settlement. 3 of these rivers, Gihon, Hidekel, and Euphrates, are well known, but there's a mystery surrounding the first, Pishon, often referred to as the lost river of Eden. This unknown river adds curiosity to the ancient tale, sparking imagination and prompting questions about what secrets it might hold. The Gihon River is described as flowing around the entire land of Ethiopia, which refers to the region in Africa, located west of the Red Sea and extending southward. It's important to note that the specific borders of Ethiopia today were likely different during biblical times, but the general area matches. If we consider the possibility that a river once flowed from what is now the Red Sea Basin southward into Africa at the Afar Triangle, it perfectly fits the description of a river that encircles the entire land of Ethiopia. This suggests that the Gihon River might have followed this route, enriching the land with its waters and shaping the landscape over time. The name of the second river, Hidekel, is a word that combines the meanings of being sharp, swift, and light. This description has long been associated with the Tigris River, one of the major rivers in Mesopotamia. The Tigris River holds historical significance, as it's the same river Jonah would have crossed when he was tasked with delivering a message to the city of Nineveh. Additionally, we find mention of Hidekel in the book of Daniel, where Daniel describes a vision he had by the side of a great river. In Daniel's vision, he sees a magnificent figure with dazzling features, similar to descriptions of Jesus in the book of Revelation by the Apostle John. Both visions depict a divine being with shocking characteristics, indicating a profound spiritual experience. A notable difference between Daniel's and John's visions is their location. Daniel's vision occurs by the river Hidekel, while John's vision takes place on the island of Patmos. Despite this distinction, both visions convey a sense of divine presence and power. The Tigris River, located amidst Iran, Iraq, Turkey, and Syria, stands as the second biggest river in Western Asia. Together with the Euphrates River, it forms a vital waterway system that defines the borders of Mesopotamia in the region called the Fertile Crescent, serving as a crucial means of transportation and irrigation. The Tigris holds a significant place in history, dating back to the earliest civilizations that flourished in this mostly dry area. The Euphrates River stands out on its own as a remarkable waterway with a rich history told in countless tales and legends. It has been a lifeline for many civilizations, nurturing their growth with its life-giving waters. Across time, it has served various purposes as a boundary separating lands, a passage from one side to another, and a symbol of resilience amidst adversity. The Euphrates River, stretching 1,130 miles, holds the title of the largest river in Southwest Asia. It starts its journey as the merging point of 2 branches, the Karasu River, rising in the Armenian highlands in present-day eastern Turkey near Erzurum, and the Murat River, which begins southwest of Mount Ararat, north of Lake Van. The valley it carved became the heartland of powerful empires such as Babylonia and Assyria. It also marked the eastern boundary of Egyptian and Roman dominance for centuries and the western edge of the Persian Empire. Additionally, the Euphrates River holds profound significance in Islamic history, particularly at the Battle of Karbala, where Imam Hussein and his companions were martyred. It's also a significant landmark in the biblical narrative, symbolizing a boundary in the land promised to Abraham's descendants through Isaac and Jacob. In Hebrew scripture, it's often referred to simply as the river, embodying a divine covenant stretching from the river of Egypt to the great Euphrates. Now, to find where the Pishon, the mysterious lost river, is located, we must carefully examine the Genesis story. Number 2. A journey through ancient lands. Genesis 2 mentions the Pishon River winding its way through the entire land of Havilah. So if we can figure out where Havilah was situated in ancient times, we can narrow down our search for the Pishon River. According to Genesis 2, Havilah is positioned opposite Egypt and in the direction of Assyria. Considering this, the only area fitting this description, located east of Egypt on the route to Assyria, is what we now call the Arabian Peninsula, specifically the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. However, one may pause and wonder, if we look at the Arabian Peninsula today, there's no visible river flowing across it. But what does the evidence suggest? Could there have been a river there in ancient times? The Arabian Peninsula stands as the primary candidate for the elusive Pishon River, inviting us to uncover its secrets. As we flip through the ESV Bible, we stumble upon Genesis 2 and spot a map featuring two main theories about where the Garden of Eden might have been located. One theory suggests a northern location, while the other suggests a southern one. These areas are quite mountainous, not exactly the prime spot for a lush garden. Plus, even though the Tigris and Euphrates rivers originate in this region, they aren't connected. As for the proposed Pishon River in this northern area, it just doesn't align with what Genesis chapter 2 describes. According to the Bible, a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, then split into 4 rivers. So, logically, at some point, these 4 rivers were once one. It gets you thinking, if we take a closer look at the descriptions in Genesis, it becomes clear that this northern location doesn't match up with what the text tells us. After all, chapter Genesis 2 mentions a river flowing out of Eden to water the garden. But how could that be if the garden were situated in such rugged, mountainous terrain? There must be more to the story. The southern proposal for the location of the Garden of Eden is quite interesting. It seems like the perfect spot for a garden. It's low-lying, warm, and well-watered. According to the verses describing the 4 rivers and the watering of Eden, they must have connected at some point to form one river. And when we look at the known rivers, the only place where they all meet is in southern Iraq, which also happens to be east of Egypt. In the town called Al-Qurna, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers merge and become one. This river then flows southward into the Persian Gulf. According to the Genesis account, the Garden of Eden is described as being watered by 4 rivers, 2 of which are certain, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Continuing the exploration, going further south to where the Karun River joins the Tigris and Euphrates is also necessary. The Karun River is believed to be the main candidate for the Gihon, as it flows through the ancient land of Kush, known in ancient times as the land of the Cadies. Interestingly, there are 2 lands named Kush, one in Africa, near Ethiopia, and the other in Central Asia. In the ancient land of the African Kush, situated along the banks of the Nile River in what is now northern Sudan, a remarkable civilization flourished. Despite early rule by neighboring powers, the kings and queens of Kush rose to challenge some of history's most fearsome empires. During the period from 1500 to 1100 BCE, Egypt held sway over Kush, imparting its cultural and religious customs upon the region. However, Kush's roots ran deep, with its civilization predating this period by over 1,000 years. At its height, the city of Kerma served as its capital, boasting grand temples, palaces, and residences. Notably, the Kushites tapped into rich gold mines, fostering a vibrant trade network that spanned across Africa. They crafted bronze weaponry, traded valuable commodities like incense and ivory, and established themselves as a dominant force in the region. Cush's fortunes shifted when Egypt descended into internal strife, creating an opportunity for Kushite expansion. Under the leadership of King Pianki, Cush launched a bold military campaign, seizing control of Egyptian territories. Pianki's conquests extended as far as the Egyptian capital of Memphis, where he left his mark by appointing his sister as the high priestess of the respected god Amun. This period marked a high point for the Kushite Empire, characterized by flourishing trade and the construction of huge structures along the Nile. However, their prosperity attracted the attention of the Assyrians, who posed a threat to their dominance. Despite valiant efforts to resist Assyrian attacks, Cush ultimately succumbed to external pressures, leading to the eventual downfall of their empire. Yet, Cush endured, relocating its capital to the city of Meroe and embracing new religious beliefs centered around the god Apedemak. They constructed impressive cities in the savannah and continued to innovate with civilized water management systems. In a remarkable display of resilience, Queen Amenarenas rallied her armies against the Roman invasion, achieving victory and capturing a symbolic trophy from the Romans. Despite facing challenges from rival kingdoms and internal strife, Cush persevered until around 350 CE, when the kingdom of Aksum delivered a final blow, bringing an end to Kushite rule. Unfortunately, the legacy of Cush has often been overshadowed by the prominence of Egypt in historical narratives. However, efforts to re-examine and appreciate the contributions of Cush to world history continue today, offering a glimpse into a civilization rich in culture, innovation, and resilience. The region known as Hindu Kush, located in Central Asia, was once bustling with hundreds of temples, thousands of shrines, and countless inscriptions. It was a land steeped in the worship of Shiva and Parvati, echoing with chants, prayers, and legends. However, over time, it began to lose its Hindu identity, gradually and then rapidly, until Islam became widespread. Afghanistan, a Muslim country today, shares its borders with India and is separated from it by Pakistan. Almost the entire population of Afghanistan practices Islam, with a significant portion being Pashtuns or Pathans. But not too long ago, Afghanistan was home to Hindus and Buddhists. Until around 980 CE, Afghanistan had a Hindu majority, with widespread worship of Shiva. In the past, the region boasted hundreds of Shiva temples, dedicated to the worship of Shiva and Parvati. However, this changed when Sabuktakin from Ghazni invaded the region, overthrowing the ruling Hindu king, Jaipal Shahi. The name Afghanistan is derived from Sanskrit, meaning the place inhabited by allied tribes, referring to the Pashtuns or Pathans, who constitute a significant portion of Afghanistan's population today. The British archaeologist Aurel Stein excavated the region and uncovered numerous Hindu shrines and inscriptions. His discoveries, including a sun temple and a statue of Ganesha, shed light on the rich Hindu heritage of the area. Professor Abdul Rahman of Islamabad University also wrote extensively about the Hindu glory of Afghanistan, highlighting the contributions of rulers like Kushum and Kedara, who built several Shiva temples not only in Afghanistan, but also in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. The region of Bukhara in Uzbekistan, known as Shavihar in ancient times, was ruled by a Hindu king, as attested by Arab chronicles and Chinese scholars. Even Kabul Valley was once ruled by a Hindu Kshatriya king named Shahi Kingal, as recorded in inscriptions and historical accounts. Despite setbacks caused by Arab invasions and the rise of Islamic rule, the Hindu influence in Afghanistan persisted for centuries. The Shahi kings moved their capital from Kabul to Udbandapura, modern-day Und, and later to Kangra in Himachal Pradesh, India, to escape Mahmud Ghazni's relentless attacks. The rich Hindu legacy of Afghanistan, though often overshadowed by Islamic history, remains an integral part of the region's cultural heritage, waiting to be rediscovered and appreciated. Determining which one of the two lands of Kush is the Gihon River becomes clearer when considering its connection to the Tigris and Euphrates, making it likely that it flows through Iran. Number 3. Exploring biblical rivers and geographical mysteries. Crossing to the exact point where the Karun River meets the Tigris and Euphrates is a difficult task, considering it lies on the border between Iraq and Iran. a sensitive area. Despite the challenges, getting as close as possible to the meeting point is very necessary. As one gazes upon the bridge spanning the river, it becomes clear that it isn't crossing the Tigris and Euphrates, but rather another waterway altogether, highlighting the significance and complexity of this ancient landscape. The bridge crosses what's known as the Karun River, and this river is believed to be the primary possibility for the Gihon. Genesis mentions how a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden and then split into 4 riverheads. Understanding this verse better is greatly aided by reading the insights of the respected Hebrew scholar E.A. Spicer in the Anchor Bible commentary. He clarified the verse's meaning, which can initially seem confusing. Spicer explained that the verse refers to one river branching into 4 separate streams that merge within Eden. This perspective might seem unusual since rivers typically flow from their source down to where they meet other rivers. However, the Hebrew language supports this interpretation. According to Spicer, the term heads in verse 10 doesn't refer to where the river splits after leaving Eden, but rather to the 4 distinct branches that unite within Eden. Therefore, our expedition sets its sights on Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Guided by ancient texts, we navigate towards the land of Havilah, tracing a path opposite Egypt, before venturing deeper into the heart of Arabia, towards the majestic Hijaz Mountains. Amongst the rocky peaks and sweeping vistas is stand at the link between past and present, a place where time seems to stand still, and the echoes of history fill the air. Each step through these ancient lands uncovers new mysteries, each view a canvas painted with the hues of days gone by. In the shadow of the mountains lie secrets buried beneath the sands. The Hijaz Mountains stand with a peculiar tilt, as if nature herself has channeled them towards Mesopotamia, creating a unique landscape across Arabia. This tilt gives rise to countless ravines that crisscross the land, forming a network of pathways for rainwater. When the heavens open up, these ravines become channels, merging their waters to create what is believed to be the ancient Pishon River. To the east of the Hijaz Mountains lies a striking high plateau, its surface adorned with rugged rocks and ancient volcanic formations. Ascending this plateau, greeted by a vast expanse of volcanic rock, stretching as far as the eye can see. It's proof of the geological history of this region, where the forces of nature have shaped the land over millennia. Descending from the heights of the mountains, there lie the foothills, where a beautiful landscape unfolds before us. It's a quiet spot, ideal for setting up camp and resting for the night, surrounded by the beauty of nature. According to ancient texts, the Pishon River winds its way through the land of Havilah, a region known for its abundance of gold. Crossing this ancient land, anyone would marvel at the richness and beauty that surrounds it. One important factor supporting the identification of Arabia as the land of Havilah is the presence of gold. If Arabia is indeed Havilah, then it would boast abundant and high-quality gold. Interestingly, Saudi Arabia is home to the largest and most productive gold mine in the Middle East. Number 4. Tracing Havilah's riches. Behind, at the mountain's base, lies the Ma'ad Mine, known as the Cradle of Gold in Arabic. This region boasts 55 gold mines, with Ma'ad Mine being not just the largest among them, but the biggest in the entire Arabian Peninsula. It has been a site of continuous mining for millennia, a testament to its rich history and enduring significance. Adjacent to the mine, towards the east, lies a road where cars traverse, a modern iteration of the ancient incense route. This historical trade route eased the exchange of commodities mentioned in Genesis 2, running from south to north. It's fascinating to note that Genesis 2 mentions the presence of gold in the land of Havilah, emphasizing its quality. Here, amidst these gold mines, including the prominent Ma'ad Mine, this biblical assertion finds physical evidence. Moreover, the route also served as a channel for scented resins, notably frankincense and myrrh. These precious commodities were transported along the incense route, passing merely a kilometer to the east of the Ma'ad Mine. The convergence, or meeting of history and commerce in this region, paints a vivid picture of the ancient world's interconnectedness and prosperity. In addition, there are the onyx and other precious stones. These are the same goods mentioned in Genesis 2 as being from the land of Havilah, which Arabia is known for trading. This trade route is where these goods were exchanged. So there's a match between the description of Havilah in Genesis 2 and Arabia. Now the next goal is to locate the ancient riverbed across the Arabian Peninsula. In the late 1980s and early 90s, Dr. Farouk Elbaz, an Egyptian geologist, spotted a massive ancient Arabian river while studying satellite images of Arabia. The ancient riverbed, known locally as Wadi Ruma, was discovered by Dr. Elbaz. It once spanned across Arabia. Archaeologist James Sauer suggests that this river might be the Pishon River mentioned in the Bible, associated with the Garden of Eden. According to Sauer, no other river seems to match the biblical description as well as this one does. Thus, it's a combination of Dr. Elbaz's discovery and Sauer's analysis that confirms the finding of this lost river of Eden. This riverbed is believed to be the most likely possibility for the biblical Pishon River. Originating from the Hijaz Mountains, it eventually joins the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. However, for most of the year, the river remains dry today. In ancient times, during the period known as Havilah, the climate was much wetter, supporting a river that flowed continuously across the entire land, from Egypt to Assyria. Scholars estimate that this river flowed until around 200,000 BC, when climate changes led to its eventual drying up. At the upper reaches of the river, it flows from the Hijaz Mountains. Interestingly, the same types of volcanic rock found in the Hijaz Mountains can be seen in the gravel of this ancient riverbed. Here, there is granite, black basalt, and quartz, all materials observed up in the mountains. The quartz pebbles originate from the Hijaz Mountains, forming deposits that extend into the riverbed. Looking closely, there's a vein of quartz running through the side of the mountain. This massive deposit serves as the primary source for the quartz pebbles scattered throughout the riverbed below. In ancient times, especially when the river was flowing, these pebbles would have been carried downstream, eventually reaching the meeting of the ancient river with the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. In Genesis, the description of the Pishon River winding through the entire land of Havilah mirrors what this river did in ancient times across Arabia. It curved across the Arabian Peninsula. Locating Wadi Ruma isn't difficult, it's vast. However, following it is challenging and a bit stressful. The soft sand in the riverbed and dunes covering parts of it made navigation tricky. It's fascinating to compare the size of Wadi Ruma, the possibility of the Pishon River, with the Euphrates River. Surprisingly, the banks of Wadi Ruma are even wider than those of the Euphrates today. In ancient times, the Pishon River would have been large, far larger than we had imagined. The riverbed spanned over 1.7 miles wide, which is truly enormous. Number 5. Tracing the path of ancient rivers. Exploring the area reveals several fenced-off ancient wells within the dry riverbed, remnants of when Wadi Ruma served as a vital route to Mesopotamia. However, the riverbed vanishes beneath a vast expanse of dunes. Crossing the sandy barrier to reach the other side where Wadi Ruma resurfaced, as seen on Google Earth, becomes difficult. On the east side of the dune belt, Wadi Ruma is rediscovered. Following the river upstream, gravel line its banks, evidence of the ancient river's force. However, approaching Kuwait, the gravel plain expands into a physical fan, indicative of the river's meeting with the Euphrates, Tigris, and Pishon rivers. This fan, spanning much of Kuwait, highlights the significant water flow in ancient times. Notably, the pebbles scattered across the gravel plain puzzled geologist Dr. Farouk Elbaz, leading him to question their origin. His discovery revealed that these pebbles, originating from the Hijaz Mountains, were shaped and transported by the powerful flow of the ancient river. Samples collected from the Hijaz Mountains matched the smoothed pebbles found in the gravel fields, highlighting the transformative journey of these rocks over 500 miles downstream. Dr. Elbaz meticulously mapped the distribution of pebbles along the river, revealing that the stones traveled over 500 miles from the Hijaz Mountains with the river's flow, following the riverbed for miles on end, witnessing its gradual enlargement. The sheer scale of this flow was awe-inspiring. The question arises, is this river the river Pishon? In conclusion, amidst a gravel bed filled with pebbles, unmistakably sourced from the Hijaz Mountains, the vast riverbed stretching back to the mountains leaves no mystery as to how these pebbles arrived here. Even the locals, when consulted about the wadi's name, confirmed its origin and its journey from Medina in the Hijaz Mountains to Iraq, where it merges with the Tigris and Euphrates. The more we delve into this research and explore the terrain, the more it aligns with Dr. James Sauer's identification of this river as the Pishon from Genesis 2. The Bible describes the Garden of Eden's location concerning 4 identifiable rivers, all of which converge in southern Iraq. While we can only speculate on the pre-flood appearance of this region, the results of research today are quite revealing. Looking into the vast marshes of southern Iraq, near the confluence of the Euphrates and Tigris rivers, water is abundant. The marshes, home to the Marsh Arabs, were once even more extensive, reaching from the Gulf to ancient cities like Eridu and Ur. According to Spicer, these rivers were believed to meet near the head of the Persian Gulf, creating a fertile land revered as the Land of the Blessed. Considering the criteria outlined in Genesis 2, the meeting of these 4 rivers into one occurs in southern Iraq. Moreover, this region's low elevation and warm climate, coupled with ample water supply, make it an ideal place for the Garden of Eden, as described in Genesis 13. Therefore, it is reasonable to conclude that the most likely location for the Garden of Eden is in southern Iraq. The rivers originating from the Garden of Eden in the Bible hold more significance than just being a minor detail in the creation story. They serve as profound symbols of togetherness, illustrating the relationships between God, humanity, and the natural world. These rivers teach a universal truth recognized by every culture: the essential importance of water. It is viewed as a divine gift that sustains life, promotes growth, and brings happiness to all living beings. Water symbolizes God's continuous presence and providence in ensuring the harmony of nature. Each river possesses its unique characteristics and purpose, nurturing different regions of the earth and bringing blessings upon the lands through which they flow. The Pishon, for instance, encircles lands rich in resources, symbolizing God's abundant provision. The Gihon flows quietly, carrying life to distant lands. The Hiddekel, known today as the Tigris, witnesses the rise of civilizations, while the mighty Euphrates becomes the cradle of great empires. Despite their diverse paths and destinations, these rivers share a common origin, emphasizing unity amid diversity. They narrate a story of life unfolding from a singular divine source, portraying the beauty of diversity and the harmony of creation. As carriers of life, the rivers from Eden sustain both the garden and the world beyond, facilitating connections and fostering growth. Their existence serves as a testament to the balance and order established at the dawn of time, and as they flow from their source, they echo a fundamental truth: from unity emerges diversity, and from the Creator springs forth life in all its manifold forms. In the aftermath of Eden, these rivers continue to symbolize the enduring bond between God, humanity, and the natural world, preserving the divine order established at the beginning of creation. Once Adam and Eve bid farewell to the beautiful Garden of Eden, the world outside its confines likely appeared stressful and harsh. They faced the consequences of their decisions, a life now marked by labor and struggle. Despite their expulsion, the rivers originating from Eden served as a gentle reminder of the paradise they once called home. These rivers symbolized God's farewell kiss, a tender gesture amidst the harsh reality of their new existence. Once assigned as caretakers of paradise, Adam and Eve now found themselves struggling with less forgiving soil and toil. Nevertheless, the rivers remained, serving as both a geographical and symbolic link to their lost Eden. The imagery of the rivers flowing from Eden suggests a divine intent for Eden's essence to reach the farthest reaches of the earth. Even though humanity could no longer reside there, the continuous flow of these rivers mirrors God's boundless grace, ever-present, life-sustaining, and far-reaching. Just as the rivers flowed endlessly, God's grace continues to extend toward humanity, offering nourishment and hope in the face of adversity. Even after Adam and Eve's departure from Eden, the river's steadfast flow serves as a testament to God's enduring presence and care for them. Romans chapter 5 teaches us that just as one man's disobedience led many to sin, one man's obedience can make many righteous. Through Jesus Christ, eternal life is possible. This is our ultimate desire, to reclaim the paradise we lost due to sin. To achieve this, sin must be addressed, and only God has the power to do so. Thus, God descended to earth, taking on human form and remaining sinless. He, who died for sin, is also the one who forgives sin. Moreover, the one who conquered death can grant eternal life on a renewed earth. This is the narrative, the true story depicted in the Bible. Although the end is yet to come, the Bible presents a journey from paradise lost in Genesis to the promise of paradise regained in Revelation. What are your thoughts on the river Pishon that has just been discovered? Let us know your opinion in the comments below.